Jason. Jason Salisbury. His cows haven't escaped again. Oh, it's Well, what do you want to do? You want to dance for the delegates? Oh, all right then. Oh, no, I haven't got my music. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh, all right then. Oh, I haven't got my pipe. Oh. That's a clever cow. Well, we'll see if the delegates will clap along then. 1, 2. To know that Venus can dance much faster than that. 1, 2. Venus. And on that rather silly note, I'd like to introduce Jason. Lucy's quite shy.
Always the back end of the cow. Good afternoon, everybody. My late father once told me, he said, whenever you speak into public, always make sure you got plenty of eye contact with people, especially in the back row. Always make sure that you can pronounce your words properly and make sure that they can actually understand you. And finally, always make sure that your thighs are done up. And then at that point, everybody then looks down. So let me just whip these off. So I know that dairy farming, especially in the view of an environmentalist, can be a bit of a controversial subject. Thank you very much. Do you want my trousers? But I'm planning to just tell you a little bit about me, because that's what you're all here for, to hear all about me. It's not all about cows and things like that, but it's about me. And about my ethos, about how I farm. And really, is it the first one? That one? Well, that probably switched that off.
That's the pointy thing. Yeah. So we rehearsed the cow, didn't we?
There you go.
Point it at the machine.
Okay, that's fine. Point it anyway, that's fine. So, I'm from a long farming background, so my parents weren't in farming at all. In fact, my dad was a fireman. And I moved into farming because I wasn't very good at school and I needed something to do. So farming isn't in my blood. However, in 2004, I was made redundant with a small family. Katharine, my wife, who's in the back there, was on maternity leave. And James, our youngest, second youngest, he was 6 weeks old, and Emily was 2 years old. So basically, we're stuck without nothing, and we didn't have anything. So we decided that we're going to set up a small dairy farm in Suffolk. Not the biggest dairy county in the world, but in fact, there's only one of 7 now of small dairy farms. So we set up this dairy farm and we started to make a bit of cheese and sell it into farmers markets and so forth. A few years later, we ended up buying another farm in Cretan St Mary in Suffolk, just north of Needham Market in East Anglia there, and we built this new dairy of where we stand today. And we still own and still run that dairy, albeit remotely. At the moment, we have around 50 cows, Jerseys and Guernseys, and we farm it in a very, very small, compact way. We are surrounded by big arable dairy farmers. You can imagine the bread counties, and this is where we are, but we're stuck in the middle of these arable farmers, and it's almost like an oasis of wildlife around us. So Catherine and I set up this small dairy unit. Back, there you go. And there we have, I don't know what it is.
Turtle dove.
You're not supposed to put it up there. Okay, so we are surrounded only by this huge oasis, of which we're very fortunate to have turtle doves there as well, and we proactively feed them and make sure that their nesting sites are right. So, and we are very, it's quite a small area or a small belt for these particular animals. So we also strive to pursue, obviously with animals around, we're also going to get the bugs and the insects as well. So we're getting a lot of habitats along that way as well. So the outline of the farm at the moment in Suffolk is this. I don't know whether you can see it in the back, but the yellow spots, the yellow signals around you, is actually bait boxes. They're fly bait boxes. So we feed those with a compound to attract the flies into them. So we don't use any chemicals or any artificial fly killers and so forth. The flies are attracted to these bait boxes, but we also use what's known as bio-wasps as well on the muck heaps. So we feed the larvae and they grow up the wasps in order to feed the larvae, the fly larvae as well. So we're trying to be very proactive in a natural way of controlling flies. I'm going to get this right in a moment. In 2017, Chris Nightingale was a neighbouring farmer here on Sark, and he retired, and Sark was without a dairy farmer. And Dr. Richard Axton, who I'm afraid is no longer with us, was a great driver of a new dairy trust. Sark needs a dairy, and Richard was a big driving force behind this. Cara, who had a chocolates last night, Cara was also, and still is, a big driver of Sark cream. We need to have Sark cream to put into the Sark chocolates. So there is a market there. There is a need there for this particular product. Anybody recognise those from last night? So a Sark Dairy Trust was formed. So that's a trust of people who are going to get behind it all and start raising money and see if they can promote and try and drive a dairy behind it. And the likes of jumbles, events all around the island, and in order to create donations and sponsorship for a Sark Dairy Trust. But what they were really without is Wendy, the donkeys. Another way of raising money was to sell muck, donkey poo. But what they really, really needed was a dairy farmer. So an appeal went out on BBC Breakfast. You may well have seen it. John Ferdinand was sent to the Isle of Sark down the avenue and to do this big national piece. The Sark needs a dairy farmer. All they need to do is anybody can apply, but they must bring their cows to the island, and they'll be able to put it into the unit and provide the island with fresh Guernsey cream. And of course we saw it. Catherine and I were about to climb Mount Snowdon and saw it at the bottom. We thought, well, do you know what, we can do that, because we're going to bring our skills from Suffolk and we can bring them onto Sark. We've holidayed here a few times. It's quite nice. We come here and it'll be all right. And we could come here and we could retire. Catherine and I and our daughter Emily came over and we viewed the plot. We could see what was going on. Yeah, well, I think we could probably do it. I think we can probably help the island, and I think we can probably bring our skills of milk processing, of cream, whole milk, cheeses. We could bring them all over. We could set it all up, and we can provide the 500 people here on Sark with what they need, plus the 62,000 tourists who turn up as well. We can start doing that, and we can do it, and we can retire. Just around COVID hit, work began, and footings were started to be dug out. A new dairy building's built up. In fact, that's probably only there's probably 12 bays on that. So it goes all the way back to the woods, and it's quite large now. Team of builders, once it's finally finished in 2022, the year after COVID, I moved over from Suffolk and brought all my dairy stuff over. So basically anything which isn't bolted down, I provided. So that's cows, tractor, processing equipment, skills, and the day-to-day running of the equipment. I brought that all over in a livestock trailer, and once they were all set up, Catherine and I came over in, well, I didn't actually come over in the tractor, we came over in the boat. We didn't drive the tractor, no. Then the cows arrived. We could only buy cows from the bailiwick of Guernsey. There's no animals allowed to come in from the UK. They had to be sourced from the bailiwick. So they were born and bred, and likewise no cows were allowed to leave the bailiwick either. So if I had excess heifers or bulls, I'm not allowed to send them back to the UK. Quite why, I don't know, because you would think that they'd be pure and they'd be clean, but I'm not allowed to do it. So I had to source animals from Guernsey and bring them all over. Fortunately, I was put in touch with a lady who was retiring, and we managed to buy the whole herd. But our plan was, we had excess heifers in the UK, and we thought, well, we could bring those over, because I know their parentage. I could bring them all over, breed them all up, and I've got an instant herd. But it didn't quite work that way, so we sold those and we bought these others. So the cows were craned on in Guernsey, and then they were craned off. The high-flying cows. Some people say they're high yielders. It's a pun. So they were craned off, and the tractor then brought them up the harbour hill, just where you came up with a toast rack, brought them round, dropped them off, and put them into the field. And there they all go. So they, there was 4 at a time, and we currently stand just around the 30 mark at the moment. So you can imagine how many trips that was, and the actual cost of bringing them all over, which was astronomical. We try to farm in the best way possible without the highest amount of inputs coming in. And one of those ways of doing it is by growing this crop here, and I expect you all know what it is. It is alfalfa, it's lucerne. So it's a nitrogen fixing, so it's leguminous. Alfalfa, and it grows very, very quickly. It's also drought resistant as well. So this was actually taken in a field just the other side, just down there on the road there, about 5 days ago, something like that. And that's its 5th cut of the year, and it's probably standing in like that sort of height at the moment. So not only does it's great forage for cows, especially for cheese making, but it also fixes nitrogen into the soil and grows as well. But we grew a lot of this in the UK. The whole idea is that you don't put fertiliser on it. You just plant it, leave it, and it grows for the next 5 years, and you keep cutting it all the way through the season. Start in April, finish in October, and you've got a massive yield all the way through. But also we're growing the red clovers, again nitrogen fixing, samphoi, and it works. One of our main products here on Sark is cheese, and hopefully you've had it. And I spied some on the way in as well, still in its wrapper. You can buy it from the dairy. It's always about puns. So it's a very mild, delicate, rich and creamy cheese, obviously made with the Guernsey cow milk, and it's taken from the same recipe as we make in Suffolk. We call this Suffolk Gold, okay? But it's called Sark cheese here. It's the same stuff, albeit a bit smaller. You can eat the rind. It's also made with vegetarian rennet, and it's pasteurised, so everything is completely safe with it. And it's a very mild. If you leave it a bit longer, it tends to get a bit stronger, and it melts beautifully. It's great on pizzas because you put it on a pizza base and it goes all stringy, and it's great stuff. We started making cheese in October of last year. Stopped making it in December when the cows started to dry up because they're spring calving, and we started again in February, March of this year. In April, we sent our 2nd batch to the Artisan Cheese Awards, and for the first time in the Channel Island histories, we won a silver award, which is a bit similar to a Michelin star. We were 4 marks off of gold. Damn. But next time we'll do it. And it's pretty well unheard of to get any sort of medal and any sort of recognition, especially with that sort of thing. Obviously the cream, there's a bit of a reputation with Sark cream. Sark cream's no good unless you can stand your spoon in it. And that's exactly what we do there. We don't whisk it up or anything, it's just leave it. And if you can stand your spoon in it, it's great, and it can go very, very gloopy. And the good news is that you've all got a Sark cream tea at the end of here, provided with cream from yours truly. My final presentation, my final slide. How are we doing for time?
Oh, you got matches. Keep going.
Oh, have we? Well, I have two questions. Yeah. Oh, it says time out now. So, our cows graze freely on 40 odd acres around the island. We farm quite a lot of the island now, albeit bits and pieces dotted about. But we don't intensively farm at all. It's free range. It's farmhouse. It's green, but it's not organic. Think, why? Why is that on? Because my cow cake I feed to the cows, albeit that's all their nutrients, their vitamins and their minerals, that's not organic feed. You think that if I bring my Duffields cake over, it costs me £600 a tonne. You can probably double that by putting organic feed in. And that's only because it's organically grown. I think that I farm in a high welfare, friendly, environmental way, and it's basically field to fork, and it's literally next door. It's in that field next door where the cows are grazing, and I think that I farm in the most productive way as I possibly can. It's not a pantomime, this farming lark. You know, it's not a dress rehearsal. This is real, and this is what Katharine and I do, and it's a passion, it's a way of life. We will never ever be millionaires on the back of it. We just about pay our way, but it's a lifestyle choice for us, and which is exactly the reason why Katharine and I were chosen to come over to Sark. If there's any questions.